You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter @RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, sports fans! Welcome to another edition of the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk, and there's a lot to get to today. Some interesting rumors and speculation. Alec Martinez has finally been traded, but I gotta start with the NFL CBA. And no, we are not headed towards another lockout, thank God. At least it seems like we're not. There are some interesting things that NFL owners are pushing for. And while I can't say definitively, it seems like the players are at least amenable to this. This is from Adam Schefter, so you know it's gospel. The playoff field would be expanded to 7 teams from each conference, meaning that only the best team in each conference would get a first week bye. The regular season would be increased to 17 games, and the preseason would be shortened to 3 games. I think these are all fantastic changes, to tell you the truth. I know there are some people that don't like them. I really don't understand why. I'll go in order. The playoff field being expanded to 7 teams. More playoffs is never bad. You know, I stop whatever I'm doing to watch the NFL playoffs. I have had jobs where I have said to the people I'm working with, hey, I want to revolve this around the NFL playoffs. And granted, I do that for every playoffs, but especially the NFL playoffs. You know, it's winner take all. Every snap is so important. In baseball, hockey, and basketball, it's a best of 7 series, or best of 5 in the case of the LDSs. So there's not that sense of drama on every pitch, or every shift, or every shot. The NFL, it is. Winner take all every week. It's a fantastic change, in my opinion. And we're not diluting the playoffs, I don't think. There are a lot of seasons where really, really good teams miss out on the playoffs. I remember Todd Bowles' first year with the Jets. They went 10-6, and they missed the playoffs. Now forget how they went 10-6. Should they have beaten the Bills that final game of the season? Yes. No question. It was an infuriating game. I gave up an hour on the game to watch that game, and I almost threw a chair through my TV. But, look, the point is, if this structure was in place in 2015, the Jets wouldn't have had that issue. I really see no problem with expanding the playoffs at all. It's not like you're adding more rounds. It's just 3 games on wildcard weekend each day, so 6 games total. What's better than that? Yeah, eventually you'll probably end up seeing 8 teams per conference. Half the league will be in it. But that's the same thing for hockey and basketball. And it works there. I really don't mind expanding the playoff field. I think it's a win-win for everyone. The players will love it because there's more chance to play in the playoffs. The owners would love it. There's more of a chance of having a playoff team. The networks will love it. More playoffs equal more ratings. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The regular season being increased and the preseason being shortened is where they're getting the most heat. I'm on board with both of them, but I understand the issues. The biggest one is, when it comes to the regular season being increased, is you have an odd number. Every sport has an even number. So you can divide home and road equally. You can divide division and non-division equally. Conference and non-conference equally. The NFL will be giving that up. And it's going to be interesting to see how they work that out. I would hope that they implement a system where, let's take the Jets, for example, if they're playing 9 games at home and 8 games on the road one year, then the year after they're playing 8 games at home and 9 games on the road. If they have an extra conference game, then the year after they'll have a extra non-conference game. They'll probably keep the divisions the same. You play each team in your division twice. I understand that it adds extra variables to the schedule. And there are some people that are saying that this dilutes the importance of each game. Okay, to those people, 17 is still less than 82. And 82 is less than 162. Each game still means something. Does it mean less? Of course, but by a negligible amount. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to do this now. Wait a minute. Let me pull out my phone, and I'll pull up the calculator right now. I want to see what each game really means on an NFL schedule. Okay, so 1 divided by 16 is 0.0625. So if you turn that into a percentage, under the current structure, each game is responsible for 6.25% of a season. 1 divided by 17 equals 5.88%. It's a negligible drop-off. 6.25 minus 5.88 equals 0.37. That's nothing. That's minuscule. And if you compare that to hockey and basketball, 1 divided by 82 is 1.22. So each game is responsible for 1.22% of a season. You do that for baseball, it's 0.62. Not 6.2, 0.62. We are not affecting the schedule that much by adding an extra game. And plus, you're getting more football out of it. What's better than more football? It's going to be interesting to see if they add another bye week. I would think they would. Historically, that's been the biggest issue that the Players Association has had with a 17-game schedule. You want to tell me we have to rewrite the history books? No, not really. one more game isn't going to affect these records that much. It's just one more game. I think Peyton Manning can rest easy. I think Eric Dickerson can rest easy. I think LaDainian Tomlinson can rest easy. Records are made to be broken anyway. If these records are so great, it shouldn't matter if we add extra games. For my money, the best record in sports is Nolan Ryan's 7 no-hitters. I don't think anyone is beating that. If we added 100 games to the MLB schedule, so each team plays 262 games, I still think that record's safe. I think DiMaggio's hit streak is safe. I think Cy Young's 511 wins is safe. If the records are so great, it shouldn't matter if we add one more game. And shortening the preseason, the argument there I can sort of identify with. There's less opportunity for the undrafted free agents or the people that no one's ever heard of to make an impact and earn their way on the 53-man roster. I get that argument. That's a fair argument. I cannot begrudge that at all. All throughout my life, I have always rooted for the last guy on the roster. My favorite Yankees growing up, and bear in mind, I grew up in the 2000s. My favorite Yankees growing up were not Jeter, Mariano, and Georgie. It was guys like Kareem Garcia, Chad Gaudin, Dean Anna. Guys who had to scrape and claw for any opportunity they could get. Yeah, I was a weird kid. And I still like the last guy on the roster. Kyle Phillips for the Jets last year. It's fair to wonder if he would have an opportunity under this system. That is a real issue. Unfortunately, though, it's one that shouldn't stand in the way of shortening the preseason and adding another game. At the end of the day, that's a trade-off that the NFL is going to make 100 times out of 100. It's a trade-off that really most of the players will be okay with, too. Ultimately, I'm in favor of all these changes. I will tell you one thing about the CBA, though. I want this to get ratified quickly because, and I know I keep using the Jets as an example, but I'm a Jets fan. Trumaine Johnson, under the last CBA, if they had designated him as a post-June 1st cut, they could have saved a lot more money than they're currently slated to save. I think they're only slated to save $3 million if they cut him now. Before, they were slated to save a lot more. So, get the CBA done quickly. More labor peace is never bad and always good. I remember the lockout vividly. I don't want another one. I like all these proposed changes. And reinstate the post-June 1st cut so the Jets can save more money by getting rid of one of the worst free agent signings in NFL history. Alright, this is a topic that one of my friends alerted me to. He was watching Undisputed yesterday, and he tapes Undisputed. And he fast-forwards through some of it and, watches it very quickly. But he texted me about this. He didn't want his name to be mentioned. I will respect that. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp were talking about Reggie Jackson signing with the Clippers after he got bought out. And Skip Bayless brought up the point that this is another guy who didn't sign with LeBron James. And if you don't watch Undisputed, and I really don't a lot, it's nothing against Skip and Shannon. I just don't watch it. I don't really watch morning shows like that. But whatever. I'll digress. Skip Bayless criticizes LeBron James at every turn. Shannon defends LeBron at every turn. I don't want to get into that too much. What my friend wanted me to comment on was, do you believe that players really don't want to play with LeBron James? And I told him that I would save it for today's podcast. I think there's some truth to that. Go down the line of players throughout LeBron's career that turned down the opportunity to play with him. I understand Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. You can't dispute that. The three of them signed in Miami together. But that's really the exception that proves the rule. His first stint with the Cavs, it was all drafting and trades. Then the Heat, yeah, everyone signed because they wanted to play with LeBron. They wanted to play with Wade. They wanted to play with Bosh. They wanted to win an NBA title. Ray Allen came. Zydrunas Ilgauskas came. Haslam stayed. Mike Miller came. Shane Battier came. Bunch of really good players. But then he goes back to Cleveland. He has Kyrie Irving there. We know how that ended up. They traded for Kevin Love. Keyword trade. Can you think of a big free agent that they signed to play with him? I don't want to hear that they didn't have a max contract slot. There have been a bunch of players all throughout NBA history that have taken less money to play with certain players and to win an NBA title. Andrei Kirilenko, David West, even Kyrie Irving. He could have gotten the full max. He didn't. He took less money, and so did Durant, so they could bring in DeAndre Jordan. If you want to play with a certain player enough, you'll make it happen. Then he goes to the Lakers. What big free agents have the Lakers signed? None! They whiffed on Kemba Walker. They whiffed on Jimmy Butler. They whiffed on Kawhi Leonard. Now in the buyout market, they're getting spurned. They haven't been able to make any trades, although you can't blame LeBron for that. The thing that I hate most when people talk about LeBron James is they keep saying LeBron should trade this guy, LeBron should bring in that guy. Well, last time I checked, he's not the GM. Does he have say? Of course he has say. But he doesn't have the final say. At the end of the day, it was up to David Griffin to send Anthony Davis to the Lakers. It was not up to LeBron James. Did LeBron have a say in who was traded from the Lakers? Yeah, probably. But again, he wasn't the seminal reason for making that trade. The seminal reason was David Griffin. I think there is truth to the notion that players don't want to play with LeBron James. I don't know why they don't. You want to tell me they don't want to be in his shadow? Well, a lot of these players that are spurning the Lakers, they're second fiddle anyway. Paul George. Paul George spurned the Lakers to go back to Oklahoma City to play with Russell Westbrook again. Yeah, Jimmy Butler is the best player on the Heat. Kemba Walker is probably the best player on the Celtics. Kawhi Leonard's the best player on the Clippers. I get that. You want to be the best player on a championship-winning team. I understand that. There's probably some truth to that. But it doesn't account for the Lakers getting spurned in the buyout market. Reggie Jackson goes to the Clippers. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist goes to Dallas. Jeff Green and DeMare Carroll go to Houston. Why don't players want to play with LeBron James? I do not have the answer to that question. But I think that's a real issue. You know, this is an argument that I got into with a bunch of people, that stars will always bring friends with them when they sign. Well, not always. LeBron did not bring a star with him to LA when he signed there. It took a year for them to trade for Anthony Davis. Kemba Walker did not bring a star with him to Boston. I understand that they already had a full roster, but you know what? Kawhi Leonard orchestrated a trade of Paul George to the Clippers. Kemba could have done the same thing with a friend of his. You know, I don't need to look too much further than the fact that Anthony Davis hasn't re-upped with the Lakers. You want to tell me he's waiting to re-sign with them? It's certainly possible. But if I was a Lakers fan, I'd be nervous that he hasn't put pen to paper yet. I mortgaged the future for him, and there's still a chance he may leave. That would scare me. I'm not saying he's going to leave, but it's still a possibility. Do I think that players don't want to play with LeBron James? Yeah, I think a sizable percentage of them don't. The evidence doesn't lie. And I don't want to hear about guys like Danny Green and Rajon Rondo. Those guys were the backup choices for the Lakers. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, backup option. Avery Bradley, backup option. Jared Dudley and JaVale McGee, backup options. It's not good that LeBron has not been able to bring friends with him to the Lakers. While I can't say definitively that he's not going to win an NBA title there with this current roster, I can say with a high degree of confidence that he does need help. It's very rare that you see a player, any player, just take over a whole playoffs and he doesn't need any help. And it's fair to wonder if LeBron can do that again. He's 35 years old. Now, he's still great. He's still fantastic. But can you count on him to dominate for 16 to 28 games in the playoffs? No. No, you cannot. He needs help. He has Anthony Davis, yeah, but where's the third guy? Where's the fourth guy? Where's the fifth guy? It's an interesting point that LeBron has not been able to bring a friend with him to LA. It speaks badly to James at the end of the day. It really does. I don't know why players don't want to play with him. I would definitely want to play with him. But ultimately, LeBron has to do some soul searching. And maybe even ask a guy like Kawhi or Kemba. If they're close, if LeBron and Kawhi are close, and LeBron and Kemba are close, they will tell him why they didn't want to play with him. It's something that LeBron is going to have to figure out very, very quickly. Moving over to a very interesting NFL rumor that concerns my beloved Jets. According to Christian Dyer of Sports Illustrated, an NFL source told SportsIllustrated.com that if Beckham is traded, he'd view the Jets as an ideal landing spot. Now, firstly, let me say that the Browns would be insane to trade Odell Beckham. He's still great. I understand that he had a down year last year. You know what? He was playing with a clueless coach. I have no idea how Stefanski is going to do, but I can guarantee you he's going to be better than that dope Freddie Kitchens. My dead grandmother could have coached that team to more wins than he did. Do the Browns have to mend their fences with Beckham? Yeah, they do. I'm sure he was unhappy there. I don't blame him for being unhappy there. They came into that season with Super Bowl expectations, and they were out of the playoff race in October or November. But I still don't think he's going to be traded. I think the Browns are going to try to make this work. It would be very bad if the Browns cut bait on him after just 1 year. You look at what they gave up: a first, a third, and Jabril Peppers. You're not going to get a whole equivalent to that. I'd be very surprised if the Browns just wanted to cut their losses and trade him to the highest bidder, even if that highest bidder is only giving up a 4th-round pick. I don't think we've reached an Antonio Brown situation yet. I still think this can be salvaged. They got rid of the issue in Cleveland. Now all they have to do is just make Beckham happy and get back on the right track. They were on the right track heading into the season. No question about that. They just didn't have the coach to guide him. Is Beckham a diva? Yeah. He's a tough teammate. He's a tough guy to coach. We all know that. But you put up with it. How many fantastic players are there in the NFL that are divas that you put up with because they're talented? Tyreek Hill had a huge controversy around him. He just won a Super Bowl. Adrian Peterson. The Redskins are putting up with him. Look, it's not the way it should be. I understand that. But it is. And there's nothing that we can do to change that. But I will attack the possibility of him going to the Jets. Please, 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 please come to the Jets. Oh my God, could you imagine Odell Beckham on the Jets? Oh my God, I would be so happy. Goodbye, Robbie Anderson. You want $15 million? You know what? Get it from Cleveland. Get it from the Giants. Get it from the Patriots. I don't care where. I'm done with you. I have no problem getting rid of Anderson to bring in Odell Beckham. None. Odell Beckham is still one of the 5 or 10 best wide receivers in football. Could you imagine him and Sam Darnold together? If Darnold can't succeed with Odell Beckham, the guy's a bust. Maybe there's even a way for the Jets to keep Anderson and bring in Beckham. I have no idea. But I would welcome Beckham on the Jets in a heartbeat. Now, he'd have to change his number. But you know what? Whatever it is, I'll buy a jersey. Well, actually, I'll buy a t-shirt. I don't buy jerseys. I buy t-shirts. If Beckham is really available, the Jets and any team except the Giants should be interested in him. Now you gotta be smart about it. Don't give up a king's ransom for him. There were some people that thought that the first, the third, and Peppers was a steal for the Browns. Well, no, I actually disagreed with them. You gave up a quarterback's ransom for a guy who's only going to touch the football 20 times. Maximum. In a game. It didn't bother me at all that that's what the Giants got. I didn't like that they traded him. I thought they should have kept him. I still think it's a bad decision that they traded him. I don't care that Darius Slayton looks like he's going to be a really good player for the Giants. Beckham's still better. I'd have no problem giving up maybe a second for Beckham. A second and a day 3 pick. If you want a player, it depends on who the player is. I'm not giving up Jamal Adams. They wouldn't want Le'Veon Bell. They have Nick Chubb. What are they going to do with Bell? I gotta say this. The reaction among Jets fans has been negative towards this. They don't want Beckham. I'm stunned. These are the same people that are calling for Gase's head and are saying that Sam Darnold needs better talent to be successful. It's not going to get much better than Odell Beckham. And the stuff about Gase not being a good coach, I mean, my God, I've had that argument before. I'm not going to have it again. I like Adam Gase. I think Gase is a good coach. 7-9. Yeah, terrible season. A 3-win improvement. Yeah, that's terrible. Gee whiz. Some people you just can't satisfy. Again, you put up with the headache. I understand it's infuriating, but you do it. You have to make him happy. He's that talented. This guy makes catches that no one else can. He'll free up Crowder. He'll free up Enunwa. He'll free up Demaryius Thomas, Robbie Anderson, whoever. I'd welcome Odell Beckham on the Jets. Shame on the Jets fans that don't. I just don't get it. If your point was that the Jets have a good system in place, why mess it up? I could understand that, but that's not your argument. Your argument is that you just don't want the headache. You have to take that chance. You're the same people that are saying that Darnold needs a better system to be successful. Well, it can't get much better than Odell Beckham. I'll roll out the red carpet for you, Odell. Please, please, please come to the Jets. I'd welcome you with open arms. The last story that I want to talk about today is the Alec Martinez trade. It was finalized yesterday afternoon. He was traded to the Golden Knights for their second-round pick this year and the Blues' second-round pick next year. Now, that's a lot to give up for Martinez. I like Alec Martinez. I have very fond memories of him burying that rebound against the Rangers to win the Kings the Stanley Cup. There was no one happier than me in the state of New York when he did that. But that's a different Alec Martinez. This guy only has 8 points this year. And he's had injury concerns all throughout his career. I understand he's won 2 Stanley Cups. You can count on him in the playoffs. And George McPhee has been very aggressive in adding talent to Vegas and to try to solidify them for a big playoff run. I commend him for that. But to give up 2 seconds is a lot. Fine, he's better than every defenseman that Vegas has except Shea Theodore and Nate Schmidt. I get that Vegas needed him. I can't begrudge them for filling a position of need, and in the NHL, you do overpay for guys at the deadline. We've been over this a million times. But 2 seconds is a lot. Even 1 second, I would say, is borderline too much. I may call that even, though. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But for 2 seconds, Edge Kings. Tomorrow, maybe some college basketball. Probably not, though. The way that this has been going, I've been teasing college basketball, but there have been a bunch of stories to talk about, so I haven't been able to get to it. I don't know what the future holds. I'm not Nostradamus. What I do know is that I am Jacob Valk saying that I should write 2 books of my life. One for the adults and one for the kids.